So, what's next? Well, he is a spellcaster, so let's figure out how many power points he has. Power points are back there in that page 39-ish area with all the stat stuff. Here we are. Power points for a 90, because he's got a 90 to perception, is 1. So he's getting 1 per level, and he is level 1. So he starts off with just basically 1 power point. Now, hits. We said his base hits. Yep, go ahead. We said his base hits, we look at by development here, are 18. You've bought 3 ranks. He rolled a 2, and a 4. He got a 10th of his constitution, which is 8. He's got a professional bonus of 1, and he's got 1 coming from his sprinting. That's a total of 18. Those are considered his base hits. Each race has a maximum number of base hits they can get, but they go up just a little bit more. You then apply the racial the stat total bonus as a percentage on top of, right? So in this case, you've got a constitution bonus of 5, so you do 105% of the base total hits are the total hits. Now, he hasn't even hit 20 yet, but he's pretty close, so we're going to give him 1 more. Right? Because that's basically going to be, let's just show you what that is here. That is base hits, in this case, 18, times times 1 plus Constitution over 100. Right? That's essentially what that is. And I rounded up. So he's got 19 base hits and 1 measly power point. We haven't, so, yeah. What's left? Obviously, equipment is left. I did take a look at the money in Rolemaster character law. It actually didn't even give you a static number. It said, come up with a number. We suggest coming up with a number that everybody gets, and then a D100 roll of one of the currency levels, like silver or bronze, on top of that, depending on how rich you want to be. I want to take this moment, though, to go through the optional rules that were involved in this character creation. So it comes with Chapter 13, first edition optional rules. So I guess those were optional rules from the actual first edition, because this is actually indeed second edition. A previous viewer pointed out to me that the book does say, a nice little text down there, that these are second edition books. Because I said that the second edition was really just a second printing and it really didn't mean anything, but nope, this is actually second edition. So these are probably optional rules from the first actual edition. So anyways, we use 13.22, which I already mentioned before, which is where we use a primary stat when trying to learn your spells. And then I don't use anything else from first edition. From then, we hop to 14.0, so this is probably more that are based out of the second edition. Personally, I use 14.12 because the actual rule for using multiple stats is to average the stat temporary value and see which bonus that is. Whereas we just use the actual stats, the stat bonuses, which is 4.12. We also use, technically we use secondary skills, but that's because we're using the Rolemaster Companion 2 really long list of things. We use level bonuses for professions, which is 14.22. That's not basic. And we also use, which is the next thing we're going to do, which is why I talk about it now, 14.23. Doing optional background points. Now, if you're going to develop your own races or tweak them for your setting, this is another thing that you would have to tweak if, assuming you are using this background option. So, actually, officially right now, the character development, PC development, we just go into buying equipment, okay? And you're done. So that's it. This has been long, and I've cut some things out and done some things on my own. Rolemaster character creation does take a while. This is not one of these games where you lose a character in a session and jump back in for the next scene kind of thing. You can't do that. You'd have to have them pre-prepared. So, High Elves background points 3. I don't know if my setting, I have it differently. Either way, I'm not going to do anything about it. So this is 3. What Rolemaster character law book gives you is a bunch of set options where you can spend these choices. So a special plus, let's zoom in a little bit. You can get a special plus 15 bonus on any secondary skill. This is when it's important to notice which ones are secondary, which ones are primary. Essentially, the primary skills are the ones that have to do with combat and dungeon crawling, right? Special 10 plus 10 bonus to any primary skill. A plus 1 spell adder. So that basically is a free casting of a spell. This character doesn't even have spells yet, but this stuff could be difficult to get a hold of. A language to skill rank 10. Spoken and written. Increase one stat by 2 or 3 stats by 1 each, both the primaries and the potentials, to a maximum of 101. So we could actually use that to push this strength to a 100. That would push his bonus to 25. Skill rank 5 in a random secondary skill, or one chosen by the GM to reflect your background. Or you have the special abilities categories table, which is random roll. Or special items category. A lot of people like to roll on special items category because that way you don't have to spend your money on it. There's also special social status, but that could, depending on how well how good you are at crafting storytelling, get in the way of your your character background idea, right? And a lot of people also like to roll on special wealth. Though what I remember about this one is I think we started with, I think what we actually had people start with was like a 2 or 3 gold, I think. And so the way we did this was we replaced their starting goals. There was a chance of actually rolling lower than you actually would have started with otherwise. This is probably actually just should be on top of everything. But character background wise, I don't think I want to roll this guy as being moneyed, nor do I want to necessarily roll any special background here. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a special item. Let's say he stole something. Roll it off. 38. It's a plus 10 bonus non-magic item of the player's choice. So that's easy enough. You could do, so in this case you could do anything. One time I took an eyeglass, telescope thing, whatever the thing's called, for perception roll, specifically for using that, right? But I think the smartest thing to do here is to do something such as, let's say he stole a plus 10 non-magical soft leather breastplate. Special items. And what you could do here, I'm just gonna move this over, and you could probably do something like, and this is depending on your GM. You could say, stolen from blah 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 blah, whatever, right? Give it some background. This is supposed to be a background option after all, not extra boosts just cause options. Come down a little bit, you. We're definitely going to do special ability, because those are fun. 75. Oh, right here. Your exceptional inner reserve allows you to withstand pain, and you add +3 to each roll when determining your available concussive hits when increasing your body development skill rank. This strength of resolve comes from years of having to deal with weird chronic disease. At the beginning of each week, you must roll, and with a natural result of 1 or 2, you break out in a sweat and are covered in sores and rashes. The condition lasts for D10 days, during which your appearance and temporary presence are halved and you operate at -20. So, what else do we want to do? You know what? We are going to go for the background. No, we could do one of these set things. I'll tell you what we're going to do. What's one of these stats really, really needs help? Well, first off, let's check and see. I think 98 and 99 are the same stat bonus, but let's see. They are. 98 and 99 are the same stat bonus. We'd get another development point and another +5 to strength if we put a +2 on there. Why don't we take a look at one of these skills that we wished was higher? Like lie perception. Lie perception, we can confirm in here in Rolemaster Companion, because that wasn't a normal book. Go to this list of skills here. Lie perception is secondary. It's listed right here, the Y in the middle column here. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to pick, excuse me, get back to background options. We're going to pick, well, I remember what it is. It's +15 to any secondary skill. This one right here. Special +15 bonus to any secondary skill. So this isn't actually an item, but we don't have a category for this. I think the original character sheet also has a miscellaneous category, and that's where you would throw this. There. Now his light perception isn't 6, it's 21. It's actually better than his general perception. Maybe a very bad thing. Maybe this is actually really good for the storytelling. What he notices most is people lying. And that's what drives him to this, to being okay with stabbing people in the back. Stabbity stabbity. So, at some point, and I'm not really sure where, honestly, and I'm not going to get into it right now, you're going to roll to try to see if he's picked up distractions B, right? You're going to just roll, and you're looking to get, I mean, technically the book tells you, add your total bonus, see if you can get 100 or better. Or you could just roll to see if you got underneath the total bonus. I rolled a 99, so clearly I didn't get under the total bonus. Or you could say that you were going for the other way, in which case, yeah, we did. That would mean that he would be done with distractions, and you could make that a D, so that he's learning 11 through 20, and that he has now learned 1 through 10, though he still has to have the amount of spell points and whatnot to cast them. So at this point, he could only still cast the first level spell. But when he gets 2 power points, whether that's from leveling again, or from picking up, maybe he spends his money and buys a PowerPoint multiplier, a ×2 PowerPoint multiplier, so he's got 2 power points, then he can cast number 1, the first level twice, or he could cast the second level once per day, right? So that's pretty much that. We're gonna write that other thing down. +15 to lie perception. There we go. So my plan with this now is to turn around and make the character an RMU, and try to keep the same general idea. I'm not going to keep the dice rolls. We're just going to do, because the dice rolling is different anyways. We're going to go through the same kind of process, and you can contrast compare if you're trying to decide that if you want to get into Rolemaster, which one you want to get into. I think these character RM2's character creation is similar to RMSS and RMFRP. It's definitely similar to RM Classic. It's just going to be some of the exact choices are different, and I think the RMSS and RMFRP uses all 10 stats to generate development points, and I think the development points are just either they're just lesser or I don't remember. So that's it, guys. I'll see you later for that next video.